How's it going, everybody? And Jesus answered, because Simon had said the day before, Jesus said, who do you say I am? And Simon said, you're the Christ. And Jesus said to him, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven, because everything is given to you by the Holy Spirit. That is your spiritual baptism. That is your baptism by the Holy Spirit and fire. The fiery trials are the repentant process, but your wisdom comes from the Holy Spirit. Your truth comes from the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the Spirit of truth. The Holy Spirit is the Spirit of truth. Bible verse. I believe it's 1 John, 2 John, 3 John. Nope. John 16:13. John 16:13, King James Version, Bible Gateway. I was thinking of something completely different. Sorry. Howbeit he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you. And we also know in 1 Corinthians 2:14, the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God. They are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them, because they are spiritually discerned. Right? Anyway, sorry to digress on you there. And I say unto thee, thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. The gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And the rock that he's talking about is the rock of the Holy Spirit, which we just discussed in the previous verse. He said it wasn't your free will, it was God. And then he's saying, and it is upon this truth that I will build my church, and I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever thou shalt loose on the earth shall be loosed in heaven. This goes for all sheep. He's talking to all sheep, all mankind here. This isn't just something to Peter, like a false religion will have you believe that Peter has the gates of hell, and upon Peter was the church built. Then charged he his disciples that they should tell no man that he was Jesus the Christ. From that time on, Jesus began to show unto his disciples how that he must go into Jerusalem and suffer many things, the elders of chief priests and the scribes be killed, and be raised again on the third day. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. But he turned and said to Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. See, was he really going to build his church upon Peter? And he just called him Satan? So Jesus is going to build his church upon Satan? I mean, if you take everything literally, then look what you just did. No, you have to look at what's really saying. And of course, he's saying that you're not allowing the truth to prevail, so you're acting like Satan. Thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. So in other words, you're wanting your flesh. You're wanting me, your buddy, Jesus, to stick around and be your pal and your buddy, when God has chosen that I must die for the betterment of all sheephood. That's what that's saying. I wonder what it looks like in the New Living, if y'all want to take a look at it. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, Then Jesus said to his disciples, if any man come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. There's an old Bible verse in Luke 14:26. You must hate your mother, your father, your brother, your sisters, your friends, your children, your parents, your grandparents, and even your own life to be my disciple, period. He's not saying it's an emotional hatred towards your family. He's saying, but you got to hate on them. You got to be in truth. You got to tell the truth to friends, family, everybody, and to be hated. Your life is not here to be popular. Jesus replied, "You are blessed, Simon of John, because my Father in heaven has revealed this to you. You do not learn this from any human being, nor from your own flesh or common sense." I'm translating that for you in the deeper sense. "Now I say unto you that you are Peter," which means rock, "and upon this rock I will build my church, and all the powers of hell will not conquer it." That's a pretty poor translation. That's why, you see, the New Living Translation is not even from Textus Receptus, which is known as the received text, which is the best translation we have that was used to write the King James. The King James is the only one that uses Textus Receptus. All the other ones are mainly Westcott and Hort type translations or worse. Even this New Living has Bible verses that don't even exist in King James. I'm sorry, the King James has Bible verses that New Living doesn't even exist. They've removed some of the Bible, believe it or not. Yeah. And I will give you, and it's not you, the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you forbid, and again, this is for all sheep, on earth will be forbidden in heaven. Whatever you permit on earth will be permitted in heaven. That is not what that means. I wonder what it states in the have I ever looked it up before? I don't guess I have. Okay. He's saying by reason of his firmness and his strength of soul. So again, it's by the way he understood that Jesus was the Christ, and Jesus told him he was the Christ. How? No flesh and blood, neither your own or any other. When he says, "For flesh and blood have not revealed it to thee," he's talking about his own flesh and blood. In other words, you didn't come up with this on your own. My Father put it in your heart. That's what goes back to the natural man receiveth not the things of the Spirit of God. They are foolishness unto him, neither can he know them. They are spiritually discerned. And notice how the New Living completely tripped it up. That's why I was wondering what it said. But I really wanted to get to the New Living, if you remember, because I wanted to get down here and see what it said. From then on, Jesus began to tell his disciples plainly that it was necessary for him to go to Jerusalem, that he would suffer many terrible things at the hands of the elders, the leading priests, and the teaching of the religious law, and he would be killed. And on the third day, he would be raised from the dead. And Peter took aside and began to be reprimanding him for saying such things. "Heaven forbid, Lord," he said, "this will never happen to you." Jesus turned to Peter and said, "Get away from me, Satan. You are a dangerous trap for me." Of course, I don't think that's, again, what he meant, but I was curious to what it all said. "You are seeing things merely from a human point of view, not from God's." And that's what I told you, that Peter was speaking from the flesh. He wanted his buddy, his pal, to stick around. Then Jesus said to his disciples, "If any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way, take up your cross, and follow me." In other words, give up your flesh. Quit thinking in fleshly terms. That's why we do these Bible studies, isn't it? Thank you, Holy Spirit. Feed the sheep. "And unto the angel of the church of Smyrna write, these things saith the first and the last, which was dead and is alive." And of course, that's Jesus. He is God. He is the first and the last, as Jesus was the first and the last, as God always was, is, and always will be. "I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say that they are Jews, or grafted in Jews, and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan, or of a false church or teaching." These could be talking about the true remnant, or it could be talking about us that are grafted in. "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." He that have an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death. All right. Love y'all very much. Ask questions anytime.